Tavi, are you a fan of movies that involve a diamond heist?
Yeah?
Are you a fan of movies with ethnically diverse street gangs?
Oh, yeah, you know it.
Are you a fan of movies that are set in New York but clearly filmed in Vancouver?
I want to say clearly filmed. I don't know what
You can see mountains in the background and scenes, Tavi. New York doesn't have mountains.
Doesn't they? I don't even know, yeah. They're gonna be like, of course New York doesn't have mountains in it.
Well, you're in luck, Tavi, because we're talking about a film that involves all of these things today.
Nice.
The 1995 classic, Rumble in the Bronx.
Hooray.
Happy Jacki Chan-uary, everybody. Leave a like.
Yeah, that's right.
So, this is a film that was on TV a lot when we were growing up, right?
I think we taped like one of those viewings onto VHS.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there'd be a period of time where I'd watch a movie like every day when I came home from school. And Rumble in the Bronx definitely was like on that list.
It's a very rewatchable movie, very easy to watch, as we realized watching it just today.
Yeah.
Super easy to watch.
Yeah.
Crisp 1.5 hours.
Less than, man.
Yeah.
It's like, I looked at the runtime. It was like an hour and 29 minutes, including credits.
Very lean movie.
Yeah,
lean as Jackie Chan himself.
That's right, yeah.
So this is the film that allowed Jackie Chan to enter the US mainstream.
Yeah.
Yeah, it led on to projects that like Rush Hour and things
Hour,
like that.
yeah.
You know, the stuff that people know him most for. Well, I mean, it wasn't his first attempt to break into the US, but it's definitely the most successful attempt.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because this movie is mostly in English, right?
Arguably. Yeah.
However, you may notice, like fans of this movie will have definitely noticed that it is dubbed.
Good moves. You're number one.
Yeah. I think I'd forgotten that most of this movie was dubbed. So when we watched it, it's like, I kind of knew, but I always forget whether this is actually an American production,
right?
Or this is like a Cantonese Hong Kong production.
So it is a Hong Kong production, but it was distributed in the US by New Line Cinema.
Yeah.
So it did have some American money behind it.
Yeah.
And when they were filming this, I guess for ease, they allowed all the actors to use their native tongue.
Yeah.
But then depending on which country they distributed it to, they redubbed the lines in either Cantonese or in English. So there will be parts where you notice the lip syncing is very off.
Don't ever make trouble here. I'll beat you up each time.
Yeah, it's very off.
I don't think they put that much effort into the redubbing.
No, not really. The line delivery in the dubbing is not supernatural at points, and there's like an immediate switch between Jackie Chan and the uncle guy,
Bill Tung.
Yeah,
they're like in the car. And
they're the car that's
like,
speaking Cantonese.
How's your English? And it's like, yeah, it's okay. Let's use it.
Let's use it. And then it's like the rest of the time. So yeah, we wonder what that line is like in the Hong Kong version.
Yeah.
But,
how's your Cantonese? And it's like, it's okay. Then let's continue to use it. Okay.
Well, you were saying apparently there's a Japanese version of this movie where all the actors speak there.
Yeah, so that the original cut where Jackie Chan is speaking Cantonese and the actors that play Nancy and Danny are speaking English.
Yeah.
There is that cut available, but I think it's only the Japanese release, maybe. But yeah, like, well, we watched the English version for starters. This is the version that we grew up with.
Yeah, it's true. This is where I put my rule aside usually of always watching the original. But in this case, the original is actually quite hard to get. But
so in the version we watched, actors like Jackie Chan and the late great Anita Mui, and also the late great Bill Tung.
Yeah.
You know, they are redubbed, so you can see where it like the lip syncing is off there.
Yeah.
But you might notice as well that the actress that plays Nancy, Francois Yip, and the actress that plays Danny, Morgan Lamb, some of their lines also seem to be dubbed despite them being native English speakers.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, really I am.
It's weird.
I think probably the reason for this is that before distributing it to the US, New Line Cinemas did redub some of the English lines to make it sound more natural. And I mean, bravo,
bravo,
bravo! It
definitely
sounds super
sounds more natural. Yeah,
they're my sister's diamonds.
I think. More is he still acting in films? The guy who plays the
I
kid?
don't think so. I took a quick look at his IMDb. He's got 2 movies, both in the same year, 1995.
Yeah, probably just didn't want to. He's probably not the best actor And I think the kid's probably he's like our age.
I mean, growing up in that era, there wasn't much to work with for Asian actors of that era.
Yeah, in the West anyway.
Just ask
yeah.
Ki Hee Kwan.
Yeah, Ki Hee Kwan. Yeah, that's fair. So,
but yeah, I mean, he's very entertaining in this film. It's just an annoying kid.
an annoying kid. Kyung!
Stop! You're hurting him.
Stop!
You want the diamonds? I'll show you where some are.
These are the diamonds.
You call these diamonds? Oh, that guy, man.
Yeah, I mean, before we gush about this movie, do you want to give a quick?
Yeah.
We keep forgetting.
I mean, if you haven't seen this film, it is basically about Jackie Chan's character Ki Young traveling from Hong Kong to New York City to go to his uncle's wedding. While he's there, he kind of house sits for his uncle while his uncle goes on honeymoon, and then gets embroiled in this kind of gangland situation.
Yeah.
There's also a bunch of badder guys looking for diamonds.
Yeah, a bunch of tuxedo looking guys.
Yeah.
But he's like he's also helping Anita Mui's character.
Yeah, so Anita Mui's character Elena, she purchases his uncle's supermarket. So before his uncle goes on honeymoon, he says that he'll help her out. So there's that kind of like comedic side story happening as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She had a much smaller role in this movie than I remembered.
Okay.
But like she's obviously got like a very great screen presence about her. I mean,
she's great. She's amazing.
She's really good. Yeah.
Like I remember her from Legend of Drunk Master.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, like her comic timing in this, even though it is redubbed, is still really good.
Yeah, she did, because like the actors dubbed themselves.
Yeah,
so it is Jackie Chan dubbing
own
himself.
voice,
It is Anita Mui dubbing herself. It is Bill Tung dubbing himself.
Yeah.
It is Morgan Lamb dubbing himself.
Presumably,
and Francois Yip. Another actress who you said she's been in a lot of stuff, but the last thing that I remember her is like random Asian girl in one of the worst movies I've ever seen, Alone in the Dark.
Okay. Oh yeah.
She plays like a soldier, and then she gets killed by this like this monster thing, and then before the end of the cut, you actually see the actress get up, and then they cut. So it's just like
Uwe Boll joint, right?
Uwe Boll,
Yeah.
I won't talk too much because I don't want him to punch me. He'll knock me out, that guy.
Okay, yeah.
You know about that story, yeah?
No, what happened?
Like he was challenging his critics to like boxing matches. Apparently there's a documentary, and he actually did a few boxing matches with some of his critics, and he won them all.
He versus Roger Ebert.
Oh, yeah. I think Roger Ebert already passed away by this point. Like, yeah, he actually beat up some people who critiqued his movie, so yeah.
All right, that's
so
one way to
that's
approach
actually
criticism.
pretty funny. Yeah,
I will fight you.
I'll fight you. Yeah,
I'll fight all of you.
He's a man of his word. I'm gonna give him credit that man. Like
fair enough.
I think the documentary was called Raging Bull or something. So yeah, right. I try to look out for her. I really wanted to watch it.
On my watch list. But yeah, no, she's been in a bunch of stuff. Like she's usually playing bit roles.
Yeah, she was in you were saying Romeo Must Die.
Romeo Must Die. She gets impaled.
She likes getting impaled because she dies in the same way. That Alone in the Dark movie. Yeah.
Apparently she's in Blade Trinity, but I don't remember enough of that movie to remember
she
that.
A vampire that gets impaled.
Probably a vampire that gets impaled. But no, she does an okay job in this. Yeah. I think you know what? I think everybody in this film is doing a pretty good job.
Do you know what? There's a scene where Jackie Chan brings Danny home, and Danny has this spiel about, because he's like disabled in the movie. Yeah. So his legs don't work, and Jackie Chan's like putting him on the couch. Yeah. And he goes on the spiel about like how like Nancy's away all the time. Yeah. And it's the cheesiest fucking dialogue, and like the dubbing doesn't help at all. No. I was kind of like, oh man, I kind of feel you a little bit.
Yeah,
I was actually really surprised because then like Nancy, she's like
she breaks down in tears.
She breaks down in tears. I was like, oh shit, like it's weird because it's like even though like
Danny is quite flat.
Danny is flat, but I was like,
but he's just a kid, you know.
He's just a kid, but yeah, I
think that actually sells it more because he's like he doesn't realize like the heaviness of what he's saying. Yeah. He's just like being honest, right?
Yeah, I think
he's just
so.
A kid being honest, and like
I was just like watching, like, oh man, this is actually like kind of getting to me.
It's definitely Nancy's performance, or Francois' performance, and the fact that at that point in the movie, like she's hiding from Kyung because she's part of the gang that like
assaulted him,
basically, almost killed him.
Yeah.
And you know she doesn't want to show her face around him. But then like she can't help herself but rush to.
Oh, don't worry, it's the past.
Yeah, and then Jackie just forgives her, and it's all good. And that's like a really nice emotion-heavy scene.
Yeah, I think I guess there's two of them. You talked about the assault.
Yeah, I remember being really affected by this as a kid.
It's a pretty hard scene to watch because he beats up like a few guys in the supermarket, and then he's immediately like
Angelo, punches Angelo in the face.
Angelo, what a guy!
He's great.
But yeah, he's immediately like chased by these guys.
Yeah, the ethnically diverse gang.
Ethnically diverse guy with the Chinese Native American get-up guy, and guy that I called LL Cool J from
he's definitely got that look
he looks like but yeah, I remember watching that as a kid, and still I was like, man, it's a pretty hard scene to watch because you're watching like Jackie Chan, who is usually quite unstoppable, become very vulnerable.
Definitely, and he's so hurt for the rest of the movie because of that scene as well. Basically, you know, they run him into an alley and then they start lobbing bottles at him, and even the way that scene is shot, like with all the glass smashing, you know, I mean, it's obviously probably sugar glass or something, but
it had to be,
I mean, it looks really painful when he's just getting hit by bottles, and then they like slow it down and add the dramatic music, and then he's just on the ground and they're still lobbing bottles at him, and there's all this broken glass hitting him in the head. It's like, man, it's brutal to watch.
Because like the guys are like super ratty as well, especially like Angelo.
Especially Angelo.
You're gonna die. Can we talk about 90s gangster fashion? It's fantastic.
It is. I'm pretty sure Michael Jackson's music video Bad had a lot to do with this idea of a street gang that is like ethnically diverse and dressed ridiculous in like ridiculous 80s fashion.
It is. I was just man, this is so fucking like 90s. It's not very intimidating.
The only thing that could have made it more 90s is if they were all rolling around on rollerblades, Tavi.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Oh, there should have been like a rollerblade fight scene or something.
I'm sure that was written in there somewhere. Just like, maybe let's take this. This is a bit too 90s actually.
Yeah, it is quite 90s, and even just like the music and the bars, there's a lot of like grunge.
Yeah, the club scene.
Yeah, the club scene where there's like this
weird
band,
90s
weird,
club,
like Euro band.
And it's got like a live tiger in a cage.
Yeah.
Around a dancing girl.
Yeah.
I mean, if clubs like this existed in the 90s, let us know, because we weren't clubbing in the 90s.
We weren't
clubbing. We don't know if this is an accurate representation of 90s clubs. But I mean, it seems wild. The gang members are so good.
Yeah.
They're so memorable. All of them are quite memorable. There's like, you know, the Asian guy with the long hair and the ratty mustache.
Yeah.
There's the guy with like the kind of Mexican looking guy, I guess.
Latino Mexican guy who you said switch between being Asian.
Yeah, sometimes he's Asian in shots. And I mean the leader Tony, he's quite memorable as well.
Yeah, Angelo obviously.
Yeah.
The Native American Chinese guy.
There's a guy with like shark fins on his head.
Oh,
his hair is like a shark fin.
He's like the pinnacle of like a 90s funny guy. You can imagine Jim Carrey being in that getup. That's the kind of thing.
Or like a John Leguizamo or something,
yeah. So it's so 90s. Like this movie was more 90s than I remember.
I miss the days of having memorable extras, you know? Like even the gang that is like rolling around in their black suits, and they're meant to be pretty nondescript, right? They all look really memorable.
Look really distinct. The main one, the doctor looking guy.
He's got little spectacles on. There's a guy with a mustache there.
Yeah.
there's a big guy with a greasy ponytail
guy, which he looks like pretty Aussie.
Yeah, he looks like just a guy you'd see at the pub.
Yeah. I think I've seen that guy at the pub. That guy's got a pretty funny scene where he roughs up Danny. Yeah, we were talking about him before. You call these diamonds?
Yeah, we've said that a lot.
We have
We've
said that a lot. So I wonder if this is an in-joke or if this is actually
No,
like, quite
I
funny.
think if you were growing up around the same time as we grew up in Australia, because this movie I feel like was on TV a lot, and it does have some pretty memorable line deliveries.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know, I think this and Who Am I, you know, it's probably stuck with you as well.
Yeah. Well, it was mentioned. It's mentioned in that Face-Off song that we've been listening to recently, isn't it?
Those guys rap too fast for me to keep up. Though.
You know why? Because it's about drive.
Yeah, it's about drive,
pride.
it's about power. We stay humble, we stay proud.
What a funny song.
Interesting song.
Yeah.
It's got a weird tequila ad at the end of it. What do you think about the action in this film?
Yeah, action's fantastic.
So Jackie Chan is known for his stunts, right?
Yeah.
Like, what would you say is the marquee stunt of this film?
I think when he leaps from one building to another. But it's like, it's not his most impressive stunt, but it's quite simple. But it's like, if you think about it, it's like, oh, that's fucked. But
I mean,
yeah,
no harness or anything with that one.
probably the best action scene is when he actually challenges Tony.
Yeah.
And then like it ends up him just fighting the whole gang.
That's so good. Like,
Yeah.
there's like, this whole movie is a masterclass of using your environment really well. And I guess
Yeah.
that's like Jackie, not just Jackie, but like people like Sammo Hung as well
Yeah.
are really good at using that kind of prop fighting.
It's just fantastic. Like,
Yeah.
because I don't think any of that is CGI.
No,
Like,
it wouldn't have been in this era.
yeah, not in this era.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like big property damage.
There's
in
a
this
lot,
film.
yeah. It was more than I remember.
This is a pretty 7.5 million budget.
Okay, yeah.
So would that be like what, like 30 million now? Just
For
guessing
inflation.
for inflation.
Yeah, I'll put it up on the screen. Yeah, I mean, it's not tiny. It's not a tiny budget.
Yeah, but it's just like the choreography, like because they're in this kind of warehouse, and then there's all these fridges surrounding them.
Yeah.
And then they're
A lot
just
of
like
TVs as well.
yeah. I was just like, man, it's so interesting to watch.
It's really good action direction in general.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
Stanley Tong has a lot to do with it as well. Like his work with Jackie before.
Yeah.
I think it's a case of like the director and actor just being in really good harmony together. Yeah, also because it's a Hong Kong production, people are really putting their bodies on the line as well. Still. A lot of people got hurt in the course of making Jackie included. Jackie broke his fucking ankle jumpking onto a hovercraft.
One of the
You can see it in the film, Tavi. You can see the unnatural angle he lands on.
Yeah. You're like, ooh, that's a rough landing. And
Yeah.
then he just kept doing his own stunts. He just kept doing it, you know.
Yeah, they give him a sock that's like looks like his shoe.
Yeah.
So it can fit over his cast and he just keeps going.
I'm just wondering on set, it's like, oh fuck, we need a sock. Like production designer, go draw something on this sock really quickly.
It's
like,
pretty
oh,
seamless.
yeah.
It's a pretty good effect.
It is a pretty good effect.
I didn't notice
We
it
didn't
in any of
notice
the
it,
scenes. Yeah.
It might have been during the because there's a scene where he is jet skiing without jet skis. So did he have a cast on at that point?
I can't imagine he would have done that with a broken ankle. Because there's a lot of pressure going on your foot.
Yeah, but
doing
Jackie
that.
Chan's a fucking maniac.
He is a
you know?
maniac. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Maybe.
Like,
maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, there's that bit where he gets run over by a hovercraft,
Yeah,
but before
yeah.
he does, he chucks a baby. he
Oh,
just
he
really haphazardly
Yeah, this
chucks
woman,
that at
yeah.
her mum.
There was a lot of that in Asian movies. I'm pretty sure it happens in The Killer as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, like rescues this girl. But also just the gun action. There's not a lot of it. But I think we're talking during our police story episode, like the twangs of the 1980s gun sound effects.
Yeah.
And you can still kind of hear its lingering effects in the 90s, especially this one. There's a lot of like that kind of shot of the medium close up of a guy holding an Uzi.
Yeah, just
pummeling
spraying.
it.
Yeah.
I love that shit. I really enjoy this 80s and 90s like gun sound effect. I think it's cool. It's
See
like
it a lot
it's-
in like Lethal Weapon.
yeah,
and
it's
stuff,
not very realistic, but it's cool. I think it shifted when Heat came out,
Uh-huh.
which suddenly became much more realistic,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
to
yeah.
how guns should sound.
That's also a good sound effect. Though.
Oh yeah, it's
In
fantastic.
the right
but
movie.
yeah, I think it depends on the movie. Yeah,
But I think in this kind of movie where the violence is so gratuitous,
Yeah.
you need like a gratuitous sound effect
Yeah,
to go
yeah,
with it
yeah.
as well. But no, I think the action in this film is really good. It's
yeah,
really
10 out
well
of 10.
balanced.
Yeah, I'm gonna say like that's probably overrating it, but I don't give a fuck. This is 10 out of 10. Man.
It probably, for me, it probably drops off once the hovercraft sequence starts.
Are you talking about like action wise or plot wise?
Action-wise.
Yeah.
I mean, the plot is The plot is the plot, right? It's a
the plot is
simple
like
plot. It doesn't need to be overly complicated.
But this is just like some characters that kind of go through their arc really quickly and then kind of just like gone.
Yeah.
Like I think Nancy's arc pretty much ends when like Danny has his heartfelt speech about missing his sister.
Yeah. She moves on immediately.
Yeah, moves
starts
on
dating
immediately from the
Kyung
gang.
instead of
Yeah.
Tony.
Yeah. I'm just thinking there's not that much Anita Mui in this movie, and I like her character quite because she's funny.
Yeah.
And I think in terms of a romantic sense, like her and Jackie had a much better chemistry than like him and Nancy. Even though Nancy may be like the better looking one, but like I don't know. I really wanted to see more Anita Mui in this movie.
I think for the narrative though, Nancy makes more sense because it makes more sense how much the gang goes after Kyung.
It probably does make more sense. Yeah. I just really enjoyed Anita Mui's performance in this movie.
Yeah, she's really good. I think they use her pretty effectively. Like all her scenes are very comedic. She does even have like a little dramatic moment as well when like they've smashed up her supermarket.
Yeah, she does.
And she basically shames Kyung into going and confronting the gang.
Yeah. That's actually quite the acting in this movie is pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think that's what kind of separates a lot of like cheaper action movies.
Or even
like,
a lot of later Jackie Chan movies.
It's like you don't have that like dramatic moment. And I think because the stakes are also like they're not super high, but they're like super relatable. It's just like your store's been like broken up and you just
bought it.
Yeah. So it's really like,
and then it gets torn down again.
Yeah, it gets torn down again. I see it as really funny.
Yeah, that one is more funny. She has less of a dramatic moment after that.
Yeah,
and more
she's
of a comedic
unbelievable.
one.
Yeah.
But like the story culminates in Jackie's friends. Well, Nancy, Tony, and Angelo get taken hostage by the bad guys, and then Kyung basically, with the assistance of the worst police officers in New York City, try to set up a sting on the main bad guy who's named White Tiger. Because he's a white bad guy in a 90s martial arts film. So, I mean, that obviously goes awry, and it kicks off a hovercraft chase scene as the black-suited bad guys try to get away from the cops in a hovercraft. And this hovercraft is apparently unstoppable somehow because the cops can't stop it.
They can't just shoot the floating thing. And we can't stop it.
It's just running amok. There's like these gangs are just running amok in New York City.
New York City, yeah.
They push a truck off like a parking structure at one point just onto the street.
Yeah.
And like nobody does anything about it.
And it's riding through like pathways and on motorcycles and shit.
Yeah.
Is New York really like that in the 90s? Let us know. Any
was
New
Vancouver like that in the 90s?
Vancouver was most certainly not like that. It would have been like how do you do?
It would have been. Apparently like a lot of the production work went into making fake graffiti because Vancouver was in itself so clean that it wasn't a convincing Bronx. But I mean, what do you think about the hovercraft chase?
Yeah, like in terms of like stunts, it does drop off a little bit. It goes on for a little while because the main like choreographed fight scene is over.
Yeah,
and then it's just like this chase.
Yeah,
and it's like it's all right.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It does slow the movie down a little bit.
Yeah, it's not really what you want to see Jackie Chan doing, right?
Yeah.
It's not really like driving a Lamborghini after a runaway hovercraft.
That's my car.
It's not though. That guy was clearly a valet that had stolen that car. He's got his uniform on still.
Oh yeah.
Somehow picked up a chick while driving this car that is stolen. Anyway, but Jackie Chan manages to stop it because it's probably pretty easy to stop a hovercraft, let's be honest. And then so he stops it. He manages to like disarm all the bad guys and like help the cops kind of apprehend them.
Yeah.
And then they go after the main bad guy. So White Tiger is playing golf. He's playing some kind of golf tournament for rich white guys or something.
Yeah, it's what rich white people do.
Yeah,
just play golf.
Basically, yeah. And so the cops set up a second sting. So This is where, to me, my suspension of disbelief is broken during this scene. Because they've just apprehended the bad guys, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, White Tiger's still a pretty dangerous man. Like, he's still got 2 henchmen next to him with guns.
Yeah.
But the cops decide, you know, the best way to cleanly apprehend White Tiger is to let the victims of his gang take the hovercraft. Control of the hovercraft. There's no cops in the hovercraft.
Teach him how to use the hovercraft as well. Just so. And bring, like, people that weren't even parts of...
Elena is there.
It's like, hey, Anita, just come along. It's all good. You want to come for a ride? Sure.
Like, they had to have fixed the hovercraft at the city where it got its tire got popped. And then they would have had to drive the hovercraft all the way to the golf course.
You know what? They should have just brought Danny along as well.
Yeah, why not?
They should
bring the
Danny
disabled kid along. Why not?
That would have been really funny.
It would have been even funnier if Kyung just gets shot in the head.
That test of reality.
Just freeze frame on his corpse. Just slumped over the hovercraft steering wheel. But I mean, all's well that ends well. They run over White Tiger and his goons. You get to see White Tiger's old butt. And then they go, and it's a freeze frame. As was part of the course for a Jackie Chan film back in the day.
A much less dramatic freeze frame than Police Story, I guess.
True.
This is a very triumphant ending.
Well, I mean, it's a fun ending. You know?
It is definitely fun. I think like at that point, like it's hard to argue about the writing because it's like I wouldn't say it's good writing because obviously it doesn't make sense. Like as if the cops are gonna let Jackie Chan just teach him how to use.
You're right.
But it's just fun. Like at that point, like it doesn't really matter.
That's true. I guess my suspension of disbelief was broken much sooner than that scene. It was probably broken around the time where Danny was playing a Sega Game Gear with just no game cartridge in there. That's when my suspension of disbelief was
the way he stops, he just pauses it and puts it away. You gotta have to hold the button down, don't you?
Yeah.
You gotta save. You can't just switch it off.
Yeah, and you need a game cartridge in it for it to do anything. Otherwise, it's just a doorstop.
It's always tomorrow.
tomorrow. Always tomorrow. God bless you, Morgan Lamb. I hope you're doing well.
He's probably doing pretty well.
You're probably an accountant or something. You're probably doing fine.
He's probably a doctor or a lawyer or any other Asian stereotype that was from the 90s.
Concert pianist.
Concert pianist.
But no, I still love this film. I think it holds up.
Yeah, it does.
It is such a brisk film. Like there are dramatic moments in it, but it rolls along pretty quickly. You know, Nancy moves on from her boyfriend Tony very quickly, but it's fine. Like you wanted to keep moving at that point.
Yeah.
You know, I think I can see why this launched Jackie Chan into the US stratosphere and kind of, I guess, made him become the star that he is to this day. Probably he would have made it eventually, but like I think this is a great opening for him.
I think so. Yeah.
And it ends with like a 90s punk
like
song.
pop punk. Yeah, it just really was like, let's go.
Come on, Jackie Chan. Whoa.
It sounded very much like if like a Blink-182. Well, not Blink-182. I'm trying to think of It definitely has that like
The Offspring.
Yeah, maybe The Offspring or something. It has that like midnight. It really made me miss the 90s when like mainstream music used to be consistently good. I miss the angst of like the 90s and early 2000s when like music like Korn was the norm. New metal and all that stuff. But that's just me being
a millennial.
So
I think that's all we've got to say about Rumble in the Bronx, though.
Fantastic film. Yeah, I'd watch it again in a heartbeat. So 100%. It's so easy to watch. Yeah, really like miss Anita Mui because she's like fantastic. Yeah,
I miss Bill Tung.
Yeah, Bill Tung. Yeah.
But yeah, I hope you like this movie as much as we enjoyed talking about it and enjoyed watching it. Stay tuned for more Jackie Chan-uary. Here's a hint to what we'll be looking at next week. yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of this kind of content, maybe check out our podcast as well, Two Asian Blokes podcast, where we talk about Asian pop culture. You know, it's a good time.
Yeah,
right,
it's a good time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jackie Chan.
Ooh. Whoa, whoa. I love a good musical montage of people just getting shit mixed. Just getting absolutely wrecked.
Yeah.